Welcome to the Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
What are we doing today?
All right, so first of all, let me tell you that I was recently watching a video from the Frugal Money Saver where they were doing a Q&A of questions that they've had their subscribers ask them. And I was sitting there watching it and I was thinking, I think some of those questions would be really fun to answer. And I thought, let's make a frugal YouTuber tag question video. So we want to encourage you to do this video as well if you're a frugal YouTuber, and just be sure to tag us so that we know that you made one and we'll come over and watch it and share it on our channel. Okay. I will note that of the questions that was asked of them, a couple of them were personal to them. And so obviously we're going to skip over those because there wouldn't be any reason for us to answer that question, or anyone else to answer that question because it was personal for them. So we're going to leave those out. We will put the actual questions down in the description so that if you decide to do this tag video, that you'll have the questions there in the description. All right?
All right, let's get started. All right, number one, what is a weakness that you have in your frugal journey? What's the hardest part of your frugal journey? I think early on, it was thinking of frugal as deprivation. Is that I'm depriving myself of something so that I can be frugal. And I think what we figured out was that it's not deprivation, it's finding out what's important to you. And so there's things that are important to us, and people would say, well, you're not very frugal on that. Well, I say, well, that's something that's important to us, but we are frugal in some of the ways that we do those things. So especially like we saw people that were doing no spend months. For me specifically, I guess that felt more like deprivation to me, because I knew we were going to try a whole month, and I had to go without certain things for a whole month, and I didn't want to do that. So we turned it into no spend days, and those are more like a challenge for me. And so we were able to, that works better for us to do no spend days throughout the month. Say, we're going to do 15 no spend days this month, rather than say, hey, we're going to go the whole month and do a no spend month.
I will say that no spend months were more challenging for him because he was in a different situation than I was in. I worked in an office that was nowhere near any businesses. So I didn't have restaurants or gas stations or anything near me. So it was really easy for me not to spend money. But for him, he was having to pass them and stuff. So it was a little harder for him. He felt like he was having to say no every day for an entire month. Yeah. So that was why it was a little more challenging for him, I think. Yep. So our second one actually was not a question that was asked of them, which I would have loved to have heard their answer, but we took out some questions, so we decided to add in one or two. And so this one is, what is your strength when it comes to your frugal journey? And so I think for us, and it's only gotten stronger in the last year or two when we started noticing more about how things like unit cost is not always correct in the grocery stores. You can't just look at the label and believe everything. We've gotten really strong at realizing that you have to do the math yourself and don't trust those labels to be correct. So I would say that our strength is in grocery shopping. No, we might not be frugal in some other areas, but being able to realize that the stores aren't being like completely honest with you is a strength, because you know that they're not necessarily trying to help you get a good deal. It makes you more aware. And so I see that as our strength probably. Yep. Yeah.
All right, number three, where does your income come from?
We have notes right here.
Yeah. Where does your income come from? Well, for me, I am a general manager of a restaurant. And so my hours are I clock in and clock out. So they kind of fluctuate from week to week. I try to keep them as steady as possible, but they do fluctuate a little bit. And so that's one of the reasons that we try to live below our means, because The total take-home pay is kind of inconsistent. You don't really know what it's going to be from week to week. We do get a little bit from YouTube, but it's not really a lot. Some months it's around $20 for the whole month, so it's definitely not a lot of money that we count on.
Small channel.
So we just put that in savings or in somewhere else that we can.
It's not. We're not using it for income in any. We're not using it to pay bills or anything. We don't make enough to do that. So we're definitely not banking on that money for anything. It's definitely only his income. But I'm grateful that he makes enough that I'm able to do these videos for a small living.
Yeah.
All right, number 4 is what motivates us to remain frugal. Now, just as a jump back a little bit, if you're new to the channel, may not know this, about 10 years ago, Joel lost his job, and I was working, but I wasn't making enough money to actually pay all the bills. I was I made about enough that we could have paid our mortgage payment, but we had all these other bills like car notes and credit card debt and stuff like that. So what motivates us to remain frugal and debt-free, I'll add that one in, is that we don't ever want to feel that pressure again where we're questioning, or if we don't figure out something, are they going to be able to come and take our cars from us, or, you know, things like that. Like, we don't want to get to the point where we had to file for bankruptcy or anything like that. So to us, it's very important that we live below our means, that we continue being debt-free, so that if anything ever happened like that again, we don't have that fear that comes with that uncertainty. So that's why it's very important to us to never go back into that position again.
Yep. Number 5, how do you feel about sponsorships on your channel? We don't do a lot of sponsorships on here, but we do get contacted a lot about those. We made a promise to our subscriber early on that we would only work with sponsors that actually save you money or help you, because we would never try to sell you on something that we weren't using ourselves or we didn't think was going to save us money in using ourselves. So now, in the 3 years we've been on our channel, we've worked with 2 sponsors, equaling 3 or 4 videos total. One was a company that makes massage guns. So that was almost a no-brainer since I'm a runner and things like that. I can use that, and thought it was pretty beneficial for anybody. So so we did use that one. Then there was another company that makes lighting that's rechargeable with USB cord, so you don't have to have it plugged in all the time. You don't have to have a straight power supply to it. And it's pretty good. It's hanging up right now in our little shoe closet there. Yep.
But it saves you on electricity.
Yeah, and that's when we were willing to work with those companies, because we figured it would help you guys with in your life as well. So we don't want to tempt people into spending money on something they don't really need just to make more money for us. You just being here, watching, interacting with us on the channel is really the support, encouragement that we need. Yeah. And all the things like YouTube things like sharing and commenting and subscribing, hitting that bell. So if you haven't done that yet, go do that. Hit that notifications bell. Hit that little thumbs up button.
It's probably right there.
Yeah, it's probably right there. Those are really all the support and things that we need on the channel.
That's right.
Ad placements. YouTube probably doesn't like this, but Chrissy does adjust the ads on our videos. Number 1, she doesn't allow any ads in the video for the first 2 or the last 2 minutes.
That's right.
She also makes sure that there's at least 3 minutes between each ad. So honestly, sometimes she'll look at a video and it has an ad in the first minute, 3 more at the end, and then 1 in the last 30 seconds. And so we may be costing ourselves a little bit of money with those, with switching those around, but we think that makes it a better flow. It makes it better for you guys to watch.
Also, then there's there's a video, the advertisement at the beginning before the video starts, and then there's the bumper ads that happen the very end, and we don't have control over those.
Yeah.
6, I'm including this one just in case this is relevant to anyone who's watching who can answer that question. It's not relevant to us, and it was relevant to them, which is, what is the most unexpected reality of retiring early and of your frugal journey? And since we aren't retired, we can't really answer that question. But if you are doing this tag and that's relevant to you, there's your question. We would love to hear the answers.
Do we ever not cook from scratch? Short answer is yes. Sometimes we do not cook from scratch. If you've ever watched videos on our channel, you know that first of all, we buy things in our grocery hauls that are packaged or frozen, which means that we don't eat everything from scratch. Also, you know that from other videos, we do eat out sometimes. If you watch our other channel, Adventures on the Long Run, we do food reviews from inside the park. So we don't always eat at home, especially if we're out doing things. But we have, however, learned how to make some things from scratch. We pretty much always do that. For instance, we make cream chicken soup for casseroles or soups, or instead of buying the canned version. We also make chicken broth instead of buying it in the store as well. So we personally think that it's a great idea to look around at what you use regularly in your pantry and see if there's a way that you can make it from scratch, make it cheaper, and you control the ingredients in it. Look at Pinterest and see if there's an easy way to make it at home that costs less than the store-bought versions. If it's easy and it saves you money, then start making it at home. That's been our philosophy.
And we also want to know, we are total amateurs when it comes to cooking. That's why we do try something new recipes, because we are not experts in any way. But we hope that you're encouraged when you watch our videos that, you know, you can start learning these things as you go and you can get better at it.
Yep.
You know, like if I just said I'm not a good cook and I'm not gonna bother with learning it, then I'm probably gonna spend more money. Mm-hmm. But what we talked about years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, is we're gonna get better if we try. And so that's why we do those trying something new recipes. And that's also how we learned cream of chicken soup and chicken broth and stuff like that, was by trying out recipes and figuring out how it works.
Yep.
All right, number 8 is, how do you split the YouTube workload? Now, Joel works a more than full-time job, as we've established already in this video. And if you know the channel, you also know that he trains for marathons. He also has another channel that's called Adventures on the Long Run, which we just talked about. It would be pretty hard for him to actually do a lot of this workload, because we put up like 4 videos a day. So yeah, I'm the main one who I prep the contents for the video. If there's anything that we're going to make notes on before we shoot, anything like that, all the editing, the thumbnails, the social media post, that is advertising the videos, community posts, replying to your comments, that's going to be me, because I have the time, which I said earlier was, something I was thankful that I had that time to do it. That was what I was talking about. I have the time to do all that long list of things that actually makes these videos come to life. Now, so what he does is he makes this stuff easier for me, because he was a preacher for 20 years. He's much more comfortable on, talking. If he's a little bit of the comic relief, but he will look over the material that we're going to talk about, and then we shoot. Yep. So he is very important, but he doesn't have as much time as I do to work on it. So.
Our children frugal? That's number 9. We have 2 sons. One's married and he lives in Tennessee. I can't say if they're frugal or not because
it's really not any of our business.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It wouldn't be appropriate for us to really get involved in their personal business. However, we have taught them the ideas of being frugal They do use a budget. They are budgeting and things like that.
We told them about why now you need a budget app, so they know.
And our other son lives with us still. He's in working through some studies in college, and I'd say he's right now he's pretty frugal. He's been doing some door dashing, and he just finished up a computer programming course, and
he's been working with career counselors to start getting his resumes out there.
Yep.
So hopefully he'll have a full-time job before long, but at this moment he's just working on little bits of DoorDash money and stuff. But
he is pretty frugal. He's always been that way.
10, it was, how did you meet? And okay, so we're about to tell you a pretty weird story. All right, so when I was in college, I spent a lot of time at what is now known as the Baptist Student Union. Now it's called BCM, or Baptist Collegiate Ministries. And, I would hang out there with my friends. So Joel he's older than I am. He was not in college there. But he knew one of my friends that also would go to the BSU, and he came to visit her, but he had never, I don't know if he had ever been on the campus, but he had never been to that building. So he wasn't sure if he was at the right place. So he went and he was trying to figure it out, and he saw like all these hedges in front of a building with plate glass windows. And so he kind of like stuck his head through those hedges to see if he saw his friend in there. And I saw him looking through those bushes, and I did like that to my friend, and I said, "Who is that fool in the bushes?"
Yep, that's pretty much it.
That's right. That's how we met. He actually was at the right place, and he came in, and the friend introduced us. But that was my first, introduction to Joel as a person was.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we hope that you've enjoyed getting to know us a little better, and if you're a fellow frugal living YouTuber, please jump on this tag and answer the questions. We'd love to hear what your answers are.
Yes.
Please tag us so we don't miss it, and be sure to go over and see how the Frugal Money Saver answered these questions as well, including the one that we left out of the tag.
Also, be sure to check out this video where we shared a price comparison between Aldi and Walmart. You might be shocked at the results.
All right, until next time, for the Long Run, Joel and Christy, I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
Don't forget the long run. Give yourself a little grace.
Bye.